evening to all our lovely listeners. It's 6:05 on our studio clocks, which means it's time for Bangalore Brains. This is the show where we chat with the brightest, the smartest, and the sharpest of brains from Bangalore. And yes, today on the show we have two very good-looking gentlemen. Joseph and Anmol Garg, the founders and co-founder of Sales5X, are here with me live from the studios of FM Rainbow. Welcome, Anmol and Joseph.
Thank you, Sapna, and welcome audience. We are all excited to interact with you.
An organization called Sales5X, which means you teach how to sell anything to anybody.
Absolutely, that's what is our forte. That's our expertise. We equip and empower the sales team of more or less the small and medium industries with the 21st century selling skills. Times have changed. So how we used to sell 15, 20 years back is not the way we sell today. There's a lot of impact from the social media. So right. The strategy, the game plan has to be completely different.
So you said 21st century techniques, right? And so you're saying gone are the days of door-to-door selling or selling on billboards or selling on advertisements. Today it is much more.
Absolutely, much more than that. Today you're going to engage the customer at a deeper visceral level, because the customer you are trying to tap or interact or try to net. There are many other competitors, sales professionals who are also doing the same. So what is your uniqueness? How are you going to get closer to the customer? What is the emotional connect? All this matters in sales.
Fabulous. Anmol, question for you is, why did you think of building an organization that focused on selling? Like, how did you come up with this whole idea? Because if you both are such good salesmen, you could sell anything.
Sure. I'll tell you, there's a big gap in the industry right now. If you look at corporates, they have access to quality sales education. They have a formal L&D department where all of this is out there for them to consume. But a lot of SMEs, startups, these founders have amazingly brilliant products and services out there, but they don't come from a sales background. They find it really difficult to push that product into the market, right? And that's where the gap is. And there's a massive shift there, because the economy is actually growing because of the SMEs and startups, right? Because that's how the world goes around. So there is a big gap which we thought, which we want to really fulfill.
Fabulous. Well, that's Joseph and Anmol live from the studios of FM Rainbow. When I come back after this musical break, I'm going to ask you, what are some of the characteristics that we should look out when you're looking for a salesman? And we are going to reveal all that for you. Just keep it locked to FM Rainbow 101.3. This is me, Sapna, giving you company all the way until 7. Hey, welcome back. Joseph Das and Anmol Garg, the founder and co-founder of Sales5X, are here with me live from the studios of FM Rainbow. JD and AG. Okay, I made acronyms for you guys. We were talking about what are the characteristics of a sales guy. And usually when you say, I want a sales guy in my team, or when we talk about salespeople in general, we think about high energy individuals, like literally a lion out of a cage, right, to go out and make the sales happen. Is it true? Is that perception really true?
Not really. It used to be true before the advent of internet or the social media. Not anymore. Okay. Now when you approach the customer, your job as a sales professional is to observe the customer and match his energy. If the customer is on high energy, he's excited, you match that energy. And if the customer is, low on his energy, then you could be one notch higher than the customer always. But if you meet a customer who's low on energy, and if you are, high on energy, he may feel threatened, intimidated, and also lose trust, that this sales professional is going to pile something on me. So be careful at that point.
So how does one know that they are cut out for sales or they're not cut out of sales? And is it also important for everybody to be a salesman because they have a startup or they own a business?
The number one thing for you to ask yourself if you want to pursue a career in sales is, do you like people? Okay. Right. Are you a people's person? Do you like talking to people, meeting people, listening to their stories, sharing stories with them? Obviously, you can build on to your skills, the closing techniques, how do you engage with customers, that's secondary. But at the heart of it, are you a people's person? And are you ready to go out there, meet them, get rejections? That's all part of the game. If you have that part right, trust me, there's nothing going to stop you from becoming a good sales guy.
So you're saying somebody who wants to get into the field of sales have to be self-motivated, not afraid of rejections and people shutting their doors on them and saying,
Absolutely.
I don't want your
Sales
product.
is the best teacher. Every entrepreneur, if you ask them, it humbles you.
Yeah.
When a customer says no, when you build this product with so much of passion and someone turns it down, you feel that pinch of rejection, but what do you do about it? You go to another customer, you improvise on whatever feedback you've got, and you pitch again. Right. So that's how it humbles you.
Right. So in a way, it gets me to think that everybody is selling something or the other at every second, isn't it? Right? Everything. It could be an idea, it could be a product, service, even themselves.
True.
Yeah,
Even
true.
in relationships, people are selling
Absolutely.
their love.
Yeah, yeah. First you have to sell first you have to sell yourself before you could even, pitch your product or services. The impression you make with the customer. It is like, dealing with your friend and, ensuring that what best suggestion or advice you can give to your friend. As simple as that. Treat your customers as your family members and you'll never die of hunger in sales.
True.
Wow. So I heard both of you say this word twice, mindset, right? You're saying sales is all about mindset. So what is this mindset exactly? And you're saying it's mindset and also skills and techniques.
Right.
So how does mindset play a role here?
Mindset is that sales is a very, very, you can say challenging because you have to face rejection after rejection. And when you face rejection, what happens more or less is their shoulders tend to drool down. In the mind, they're somewhere losing the plot. That's why I say that every day is a new day and every day you have to wake up with a lot of energy. You wake up, you dress up, you show up. That's the mindset. You have to be self-driven, and there are many ways to there are techniques and tools which can help you stay in the right frame of mind. Because if you are there in the right frame of mind, 100% you can be sure that the game is on for you.
Right. You've got to separate the emotions from the game. So when you say the mindset, when a customer tells no, he or she is not telling you no. It's the circumstances around the customer which is probably stopping them from buying the product. So it's not a no to you. Right. It's a no to the circumstances.
So if somebody's taking it personally, then sales is not probably the game for them.
They will burn out. They will burn out and they will realize sales is not my cup of tea.
Fantastic. Well, I'm in conversation with Joseph and Anmol. They are the founders and co-founders of a company called Sales5X. And what does Sales5X do? Well, if you have a sales team in your organization that is struggling to close deals, or you have to motivate a sales team, they help organizations build that skill, whether you are a small scale industry, medium scale industry, whether you're a startup or you're already a booming corporate, whoever you are, Sales5X is here for you. That's what they do. We have questions from listeners. Sumitra, I hope we've clarified what Sales5X is all about. Well, if you have any questions for Anmol and Joseph, our WhatsApp number is 9480901013. That's the number you need to send in all your questions. Joseph, to get here and Anmol too, it must be a learning curve. I'm sure there have been rejections, and I'm sure even when you started your career, people said no to a product in sales. Tell me about an instance or that you remember when something like that happened, and what did you learn from it?
Yeah, I'll tell you. I had this customer, staying at Kambala Hills in Bombay, and to sell a vacuum cleaner in my early days, he made me run for 4 months. 4 months, call me tomorrow, call me day after tomorrow, do this, do that. Unless and until I had the courage, I mustered the courage and asked him, sir, are you serious about buying this product? You sometimes you go to get the courage out of you. Most of the salespeople lack courage. And when I asked him point blank, he somehow felt embarrassed, and then he bought the vacuum cleaner. But one lesson I learnt is that once you are done with your presentation, you're handling the objections, you're done with the negotiation, then ask the customer for your sales. That's where the game changes in your favor. Never ever be afraid, frightened, threatened.
Ask for sales in the sense, are you buying it or not?
Absolutely. Straightforward question. No pussyfooting at all. Yeah, straightforward question.
Okay, great. And Anmol, you had something to say.
In today's world, if you want to sell a high-ticket item, more than information, you need to provide insights. right? So customers out there, they go onto the internet, 60% of the buying decision is made even before they call you to pitch. So they are well versed with all the product specifications, how this whole thing works. Are you able to give them insights, something which they're not, will get otherwise? And if you can do that, that's how you're going to separate yourself from the competition. Right? And that's the art that you need to build. As a sales guy, it's not just, hey, I need to go and, give this presentation. I'm out there to add insights, which will typically change the way customers are thinking right now. And that's going to give you brownie points.
Right. So now a very interesting question. The Indian market is very different when you compare to the world market, right? Here we are used to bargaining. If somebody tells us one price, we don't just say, oh, fine, all right, here it is, right? We go haggling back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So if you're working for the Indian market, your organization, and you're teaching Indian people how to sell back to their own people, what are some of the things that you have understood about this market? Can you give our listeners some tips and tricks?
Sure. So before you sell anything, you need to first sell yourself. Right? With so much of competition around you, more or less the products and services are similar. There's a delta of 10-15%. The biggest differentiator right now actually happens to be you. Right? If you've got that charm, if you've got that personality, if you're able to understand the customer well, they say that an average salesperson is one who prepares, he practices what he has to say. But a great salesperson is one who practices what he has to ask.
What he has to ask, not what
exactly.
he has to say.
Because I see a lot of sales professionals out there, preparing their deck, their pitch, and the moment, they're in front of the customer, it's a monologue for 40 minutes. And they come from a mindset that, hey, I have a quota, I need to sell to this customer. And you just do the whole reverse way. You go there to really understand what does the customer want.
Wow. Okay, that's very, very interesting. For all our listeners out there, whatever business you're running, the key thing is you have to understand what you need to ask the customer, not what you need to tell them. Right? This also reminds me of a concept called consultative selling.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes,
we're going to talk about that right after this musical break. Keep it locked if you want to know all about selling. And whether you're a small business, big business, individual, corporate, if you have any questions about selling, don't miss this opportunity. We have two grand experts right in the studio live. Send us your questions. It's 9480901013. That's the WhatsApp number. And you're listening to our popular drive time show, Bangalore Brains. Anmol and Joseph, we have a question from one of our listeners. Smita messaged in with a question. She asked, what are some the top tips to remember while making a pitch? And she is an artist, and she also does pitches for projects for funding art projects. So any tips for her?
Sure. Let me share 3 points. The first is the concept of VIFM, which is what's in it for me. Okay. So when I'm doing a pitch, it's not about how this thing is lovely. It's about what I can give to them. So if I'm a startup, I'm raising investments, I need to put myself in the shoes of the investor and think about them while I'm making the pitch. So that's very crucial. Think of the VIFM, what's in it for them, and that should be the core of what your pitch is about. Okay. The second thing is you've got to master the art of storytelling. Right? A pitch is as good as the story that you spin around it. Who you are and why you're doing this. Because people don't buy for logical reasons. People buy for emotional reasons, right? And that's very important. If that emotion comes up, that's when you have a better connect with anyone. It may be an investor, it's a fundraise, or it's a social gathering. It's all about emotion. So you need to have a story around whatever you're doing. It's a concept at the end of the day.
So Anmol, there's a popular belief that if you're a sales guy, then you don't have a heart or there's no emotions. It's just selling and numbers. And you're saying that's not what it is.
Never. It's not about numbers. Yes, numbers are important. Quotas, targets are important. But when you're in front of the customer, as JD was saying earlier, you're talking to a friend. And if you approach it that way, sales will happen as a byproduct.
Wow.
But if you think of it, you see a customer, you see a check. Trust me. You're going down very soon.
Yeah,
right? So
I know.
It is a game of emotions.
Yes.
And you need to have what I call a certain level of ethics and consciousness into the game.
Yeah.
Selling to a person who needs it.
Fantastic.
And creating a win-win. I know it's easy for me to say, but that win-win is what will eventually help you go forward in the long run.
I think I completely agree where you're saying let there be emotions and let there be a need for it. You don't have to sell just because you're a sales guy. Right? Because you may do the trick and they may buy it, but when they go home and they realize they don't have a need for it, that's a lot of curses coming away.
Close a sale, you always open a relationship. Right? So once the product is sold, that's where the selling actually starts from. Now you're selling, the belief that, look, you've taken the right decision by buying from us. Now we're going to do everything to live up to that commitment.
Fantastic. Okay, so with him, what's in it for them?
Right.
That needs to come out very clearly. Get around the art of storytelling.
Right.
Let there be a story behind your concept, and don't ignore emotions. Connect with the customer.
Right.
Wow. There's another question that's come in. How do you combat pricing of a product if quality and after sales support are same, but if one brand is cheaper by at least 25% of another brand? How do you position such products in the market? This is from a listener of ours called N.R. Prasad. So that pops is something that I read. Why would you pay 20 rupees for a bottle of water when you buy it off a store, and why would you pay 200 for the same bottle of water in a 5-star hotel?
Correct.
Right, and they're selling exactly the same water.
True.
So it's part of storytelling again, right? So I can actually, watermelon can sell for, say, $20, a piece of watermelon, right? Watermelon juice can sell for $60, but that same juice under a label can sell for $150.
Absolutely.
And that label speaks, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to command that price, you better have a story to tell. Otherwise, it's commodity selling. Everyone's doing that. Everyone's playing the same game.
Right.
And then you cannot survive unless you're able to, cut those prices.
Perfect.
If you want to rise above the competition, you've got to have a story around it. I mean, we all spend so much on Red Bull. Why? Because Red Bull for me stands as, it gives you wings, right? I have those notions that, hey, I'm going to drink this and I'm going to be super energetic.
Yeah.
At which point, the $20-$30 doesn't matter so much. For me, it's thinking of, hey, I'm going to fly right now, literally.
Right.
And that's why I'm ready to give it out. So if you want to justify that $20, you better have a great story which connects with users.
Fantastic. So you're saying it's not always about tangible products. Sales can also be very intangible. It could be a concept, an idea, a story that moves the customer, and they go for the product.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's where, the power of persuasion, the gift of gab, the power of description all comes into play, because tangible product can appeal to your 5 senses. Customer can buy that immediately. But when you're selling services, the mother of all skill, that is communication skill, it can be a game changer. You just couple it with emotions, be authentic in front of the customer. Original, think of is win-win. When I used to sell the product Sapna, I tell you, I used to give credit to the customers, and when those credits were, most of the time disapproved by my account head, I used to stand with the customer, fight for the customer, because I know for sure my company does not pay me, the customer pays me the salary.
Wonderful. Absolutely. The mother of all skills, communication. This is a very, very interesting show, very unique show indeed on Bangalore Brains. I have with me Joseph and Anmol. We're talking all about selling and sales. Don't lose this opportunity to ask any questions that you have. Questions are flooding on a computer. I have another 15 minutes left on the show, so quickly send me your messages. It's 9480901013. I'm going to be with you all the way until 7 p.m. For now, another musical break, and I'll be right back. Well, Shiv Khera said 90% of selling is conviction and 10% is persuasion. And I think Joseph and Anmol were talking just about this, about how you're convinced about your product, how do you present yourself, and we were talking about the mother of all skills, communication as well. Before we get to that question, Joseph and Anmol, there's another, it's not a question, but it's a comment from one of our listeners. He says, in India, most of the sales are sell and forget. Is that true?
Unfortunately, yes. I don't want to make a categorical statement, but yes, this is a problem which persists, especially in the Indian market. Sell and forget. Well, let me add on to it. Forget and you shut down, right? Because
forget and shut down.
And you shut down because people don't care for how much you know. People want to know how much you care.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? So if you make that promise, you've got to live up to it, because hey, we are now connected. There's social media out there. So if I'm not happy with your product, one tweet, one Facebook message can simply go viral, right? Gone are the days when we would live in silos and say, hey, if this customer has a problem, where it could just reach the neighborhood.
Absolutely.
But
Today you want to buy anything, you want to read a review. What are other people saying about
absolutely,
it?
yeah. Most
True.
people buy products on e-commerce sites. First, they check the reviews, right? And that's where there's so much of emphasis on getting that positive word out there. Right, so if you have that in mind, look, I will sell this come what may. I may pull a few strings, tell a few lies just to get the product sold. In the long run, trust me, you will shut down. And when I say long run, I'm typically talking, just a matter of months, because it doesn't take. If people like your product, they will tell to 10 people. If they don't, they will tell to 1,000.
Absolutely. Yes.
Exactly.
Right, so negative word spreads really fast, right? So you better be careful of what you're promising, and take a note that you will deliver what you're promising.
Okay, wonderful. I also got a message back from Smita saying thanks for the wonderful advice.
Thank you, Smita. I wish you all the best with your fundraising.
Yes, indeed. We are having an absolutely vibrant and a fantastic show with the founder and co-founder of Sales5X. And finally, one last question. It's 6:52. Joseph, this one's for you. So if someone decides to be a salesman and they want to take that as a career, what's your advice for them?
Oh, I mean, sales as a profession is recession proof.
Wow, okay, I like that.
All the other jobs, there is a certain element of risk, but if you are a good sales professional, you will never be hungry in your life. I've spent 25 years, let me again reiterate that point, that if you enjoy, and if you enjoy sales, then every day is going to be fun, there's going to be parties, and life is just, you live life king size. That the profession gets along with it. Yes, there are challenges, but that also builds your character. Sales means it's all about perseverance, it's about determination, it's about self-driven. And how, you may have faced 10 rejections today, but next morning it's a fresh slate, it's a fresh day, go for it, have that killer approach, and you are going to have a best career in your life. I speak that from my heart because I've been there, done it, seen it. Lovely, profession.
Fantastic. I think it also works the other way around where, of course, if you're a salesman, there is no recession. But if you also know selling, whichever business you are doing, and if you're a good salesman, there's no recession there as well.
Absolutely. The most selling wine is not the tastiest wine. Right? So it's all about your art of going out there and actually selling it. So wherever you are, if you're a good sales guy, there's a good chance that you will succeed.
So you're saying this is not like a born skill; it can be learnt, it can be picked up as you.
All skills, Sapna. I say that with conviction and confidence that all skills are learnable. That's where people in India somewhere miss the buck. You see, everyone wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die. It's all about learning the skills, and again, repetition is the mother of all skills. If you're not good in pitching, then practice your pitching. Go and face the customer.
Right.
You may fall flat on your face, but never mind. So what? You are not God. You're a human being. You'll make mistakes. But the confidence you develop, the skills you develop is going to help you play your game all the time.
Right. And what do you have to tell people who are in the mindset of, I have to win every single time and I cannot take failure. Nobody's going to shut their doors on me. My first game will be my A game. Is that true in a sense?
Experience is a better teacher.
Okay.
Right. There will be your downs.
Yeah.
Right. And it's better that you acknowledge this right now and you're prepared for it. Right, when entrepreneurs, launch their companies, everyone's thinking, "Hey, the world out there is beautiful," and when they hear the first no, that's when the spirits drop. And what I feel is a successful entrepreneur is one who can handle those times.
Wow. Okay.
A good salesperson is one who can handle those times and just not take it very objectively. And no means next opportunity.
Yeah. Well, it's 6:55 on our studio clocks. It was indeed delightful, really, really helpful. Thanks, Joseph and Anmol, for coming all this way, talking to us and answering so many questions of our listeners. We wish you the very, very best. 5x to 10x, I guess.
Thank you, Sapna. Thank you. You've been kind, and it was a pleasure, talking to your audience, and we wish them all the best in their life, their career, their business, wherever they are.
Thank you.
Certainly. Well, it's time for me to say goodbye right now. I'm going to leave you with one last song and I'll see you at 7:02 on Meeti Yadein. For now, it's me, Sapna, saying bye-bye.